Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture for December 19th of 2025 is titled Long Shadows of the Montes Caucasus. So what do we see here? Well, here we see part of the moon, and these are the mountains that are known as Montes Caucasus, named after the Caucasus Mountains here on Earth, and are very rugged mountains formed generally by impact craters, and they're parts of the crater walls that are left, especially in areas where craters have been pounded on top of craters over time. Now, when do you see the long shadows? Well, you see them the same time you'd see them at Earth, during sunrise or sunset, when shadows are much longer because the sun is lower in the sky. So here we're looking at sunrise of the first quarter moon, and we can see those shadows of the mountains on the central portion stretching back toward the upper left. Very long shadows because the sun is just rising here. It's just on the horizon, and we're seeing those shadows stretch out. Now, if we could watch this over time, over the next couple of days, it would quickly become more and more illuminated. So not just those highest peaks would be illuminated, but the rest of it would become illuminated as well as the sun got higher in the sky. The shadows would continue to get shorter until the sun reaches its highest point at about full moon, when the sun is closer to overhead for parts of the moon. And then they would start to lengthen again in the other direction as we approach third quarter. You would get the same type of image, except the shadows would now be pointing in the other direction as the sun is setting off on the other horizon. Now, these are pretty tall mountains, about 6 kilometers high, about 3.5 miles. So compare those to mountains on Earth, and you can see those are relatively large. And as a comparison, Mount Everest on Earth is a little under 9 kilometers tall, and that's very comparable to these. These are about 6, so it's only about 2/3 the height of Mount Everest. Now, when you consider that the moon is only about a quarter the size of Earth, that makes them much larger in comparison to the size of the object than the mountains on Earth. And that happens because of the weaker gravity, in part, that you can have taller mountains on the moon, relatively speaking, because there is less gravity pulling them down. There is a limit to how tall a mountain could be on Earth, because the weight pulling down on it would then eventually liquefy the rock and cause it to slowly settle over time. So you can only have a mountain that is so tall on Earth before it starts pushing itself down so hard that it will not grow any farther. But on a smaller object like the moon, you can get much larger objects, and we even see on Mars, we see even larger volcanoes, much larger than things like Mount Everest. So here we get to see some of the craters and mountains on the moon with the very long shadows that are associated, in this case, with the sun rising at the first quarter moon. So that was our picture of the day for December 19th of 2025. It was titled Long Shadows of the Montes Caucasus. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture, previewed to be the sun's tattoo. So we'll see what that is about tomorrow. And until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.